Today we will be talking on the fixation technique for the distal humerus. So you know distal humerus, particularly this area, is very complex, though it is very simple to see. One, and you know it from the hinge joint flexion, but little bit of rotation is there. We will talk about that. But before going to the subject proper, we must understand about the anatomy and the surgical anatomy, particularly of this distal end of the humerus. What surgical anatomy? Now you know, most of the surgical anatomy we talk in the context of what? In context of columns. We do have the columns in the upper end of the tibia also. We do have the columns for the distal radius also. And also we do have columns concept for the pelvis, acetabular flexure also. So accordingly, here in the distal humerus also we do have two columns. And if you see the distal part, this is triangular in shape. The apex, anteriorly there is an angle here. So this area is triangular in shape. And there are two columns. One is your medial column. This side is medial. Why? Because lesser your medial epicondyle, and it is parallel to this in the same line. So in this part, what are the two columns and how it forms? That is very important to understand. And that is the basic anatomy in this case. So we are not talking about the parts here, the medial epicondyle, proclear capsule, capsulum. We are not going to talk about it. We are going to talk on the columns. So if you do consider this is the long axis of the humerus, long axis, then you will find this part is going this way. So this is the part which is which part? This is medial or lateral? This is lateral. And this is? Now from this point of view, if we look at the axis, the deviation both the sides is not equal. Deviation in this side. So that means these columns are deviating, bifurcating. This is Y becoming Y. Yes or no? So if it is going Y, and you find this part is deviating more. So it is even deviating from the long axis around 40 degree. So it makes around 40 degree of deviation. So from here it deviates. So let this medial column deviates from almost 40 degree. What about the medial? Medial column, you see, it is almost not that much of deviation that of the medial side. Yes or no? It deviates around 20 degree. Around 20 degree. So these columns, see. And number two says one column is shorter, one column is longer. See, this is and this is. Now, if you look at this lateral column, you will find what? It is turning anteriorly also. Unlike this medial column. So actually what in the lateral view you see that there is angulation anteriorly. Yes or no? You draw the line here, there is a cross section of the capsulum. That is particularly contributed by capsulum. And if you look at this part, you will find this lateral column is turning again anteriorly. This is around 40 degree. 30 to 40 degree. Yes, but this in the medial column it is not changed. Understood this point? So there is a deviation, and also it is longer and it is shorter. So that is why longer and shorter makes sense, and understand the capsulum is high, the trochlea is down. So that is why you have the carrying angle. You have this carrying angle because of this fact that this part is down below, then this is shorter. This is shorter, this is longer. This is why you have this deviation. The deviation is your carrying angle. Understood? And if you see this part, this articular surface, articular part is actually not in same plane. There is little bit of internal rotations of this articulars. This set around 20 degree, 4 to 8 degree. 4 to 8 degree of internal rotation of distal articular surface. So this part you suppose, I am not talking about the fossa and other thing. These things you know. That is a gross anatomy. I am talking in context of the basic biomechanics involved here. And if you look at this, you see this part you will be almost flat. This is it will be broad and this is a bit thin. So this broad part helped us to put the plate here. In internal fixation, if you look at this is a lateral column C. So lateral column is broader than that of your medial column. So so in lateral column you can place a plate. So you do have a plate over there. You can have P contour plate are nowadays available here. You can apply this like this without jeopardizing the function of the fossa, follicular fossa. Right? So these P contour plates are available. So this can be placed here, but this is not possible in case of medial side. This is not possible. This is thin. So medial side, many times we have to place the plate in this ridge like this, contouring. This part is clear to you. So this is the basic thing that there are two columns. Medial column is deviating around 40 degree. Lateral column is 20 degree. Yes, lateral column again curved anteriorly. And that is why you see that is in lateral view, the X-ray, it is going anteriorly. So there is a long axis is cross-secting the epicenter. This part should be clear. And also, it is one is longer, one is shorter. This makes the difference actually. And that is why you do have a carrying angle. And on the other hand, there is actually, if you see the long transverse axis, actually this part is little bit of internal rotation, around 4 to 8 degrees of internal rotation. So you have 4 to 8 degrees of internal rotation, medial column and lateral column. This part is clear. And also anatomically you can see this part is a bit bigger and this part is smaller. So that is why you have the advantage of applying plate over there sometimes. Do not have this same part of freedom here in the medial side. Yes, that part is here. So next point is then what are the problem you used to face here? This is your gross anatomy to understand by a mechanical point of view. And what are the flexors here? For you need to do the fixation here. What are the flexors there? You have to do the fixation here. So you have to do the fixation here. That basically there are so many classifications there. Sometimes you say V plus V plus T, and then maybe reverse way, whatever it might be. This is gross appearance actually. Yes, sometimes you look like a T7. Some flexor is here, it is damned here. You say T7. If it is reverse, suppose if flexor is here and is going like Y7. So that is a gross thing which was used for it. But this cannot cover up all the type of your flexors. So that is why AO classification is in here. AO. So humerus is, what is the numerical number? 1. And if it is down below this, 3. Okay, that means 1, 3. So a flexor involvement is here, 1 and 3. That is 30. So the flexors may be what? It may flexor may be here in this part. This is extra-articular, bicondylar, bicolumnar. What is this meaning? Involving the both column, but above, away from the joint. This is A, B or C, but A. Understood? So again the A, you have the subclassification on the basis of the combination. Sir, this is 1, distal end is 3. In the distal end, that means 1 and 3. And again you have three types. 1, there will be flexor which is extra-articular above here. 1, 3, A. In the 1, 3, A, sometimes you may get a flexor which is straight line, simple flexor. Yes, sometimes you may get flexor which is very much gross, big fragment. Sometimes you may get cross combination of the fragment. You may get involved in the both column. They are bicolumnar. So bicolumnar flexor, maybe again there is. So that is why again subclassification like this. Okay, sir? It is a clear 1, 3, A, 1, again 2, again 3. Understood? Again, next part is B. 1, 3, B. 1, 3, B basically involving one column or single column. So many times there is extension to the interarticular joint, but invariably other column is intact. So you can say one column, single column fracture extending up to this. But here you may have this medial column is intact. Again, medial column may involve, lateral column is intact. So it is a fracture here again extending up to the interarticular joint. Yes, understood that part? So that is why this is B. Understood B? A and B. C is the most important thing, and most of the time the difficult to treat is your C. Difficult to treat is your C. So C may be very simple, that is where the T fracture. So it may be involving like this, and this is very simple. So 1, 3, C. Yes or no? In a C group. Again C, 1, 2, 3 again you have. So you may have a, so C with combination is a dangerous thing. Okay, sir? So this is how you have to make the thing understand. Then how do you subclassify? So grossly you can, if it is fracture is where you can say supracondylar fracture. Okay, accepted, grossly this one. But this is not reproducible, but inter-observer variation is always there. I am speaking that you cannot speak about the whether a combination there, whether is involved in this part, is or the, how it is, I cannot explain. But one thing is there, this explanation, though it is very elaborative, you do have sub-classification also. So to remember it may be very difficult sometimes. And as for research person, even then, this is not sufficient. It is a limitation. This classification unable to speak about the displacement. Since the displacement also has a role to play in the final outcome, even though it is a very elaborative, very extensive, complex, elaborative type of classification, even then it has got lacunae. The minus point is that this classification unable to speak about the displacement of the fragment. How much is displaced? Because whether fragment is lying in position, that makes you very happy. If a grossly displaced fracture, you are not very happy. So complications are more. And also this classification unable to speak about the soft tissue condition. You know, means though it is a classification, merely on the basis of the classification, you cannot determine the treatment outcome, or you can design the treatment. So I am saying the 1, 3, C, 1. Okay, understood. Here the 1, 3, C again 1, or C again. That has got also again classification, again sub-classification. Even having all this classification has got limitation. Even getting this thing, then you cannot make a mindset that I am going to do the operation, because we do not know about the skin condition of this area. And we do not know about the combination of the fragment here. If there is another classification, the way it is bigger, there is a longitudinal fracture, there is fragmentation is there. So if they crossly combinated, ultimately results are not good. But even then, that you have to understand, as of now, though there is another classification. So this is the classification which is accepted for the world, and you should understand what is that called A, B and C. And out of this, C is more important thing, that it involves the interarticular, and C again subclassification as 1, 2 and 3 means more and more combination. Yes, this is important. So this is okay, understood? So normally if you go find female has got more preference for the your fractures. There is a logic behind it also. So if you see the incidence, then you will find that the males usually have a one model, single model, but bimodal. Female, in case of female, you get bimodal sort of. Younger generations, most of the time, the cause of injury is high velocity injury. But elderly patient, it is most of the time trivial fall. The falling from height, simple fall may lead to cross fractures. And elderly female with a simple fall may be a very gross combination of fractures, mainly into a gross combination of the fractures. Again, their skins are very fragile. Yes or no? Invariably, you may get lot of your skin your soft tissue injury also. And due to osteoporosis, and also because of the carrying angle, it is said the incidence of female elderly are more victims, common victims. That is it. So it is because most of the time because of trivial fault. But younger generation, which is in around 20 years, is mostly because of the high velocity trauma. Understood? Now, diagnosis you all know. Diagnosis you supposed to do with this X-ray, AP lateral view. But to have better understanding, particularly while this fracture is the interarticular fractures, go for a CT scan to tell you what is the configuration. 3D reconstructions keep you make you happy to understand. So it is better to go for CT scan study in a case where there is gross fracture. Particularly, here now two things are there. Now what is the treatment of choice? Understood? We have this fracture there. We have the two groups of fractures. Ultimate treatment what? Ultimate treatment say if there is a supracondylar fracture here, bicolumnar fracture, then without displacement one can think of giving conservative treatment also. Understood? Or you can go minimal surgery also. But if there is a gross displacement, one need to go for operative treatment. Again, single column B type of fractures may be addressed by exposure with a single exposure, window exposure. I will tell you what is the exposure I will talk. And then again, you do have the combination fracture here. Yes? So, but if it is a grossly comminuted elderly patient with multiple fragments here, what is the choice of treatment? No. Everyone can go for replacement surgery. So, there is a debate in the last century, in the middle of last century, in 19th century, what to do, whether to go for it. There is Lamberti and other surgeons, they prefer to do operation, but because of the inadequate hardware and also subsequent infection, operation technique was a bit not encouraged. But after AO group has coming into this field, the concept entirely has changed. The principle of treatment in interarticular fracture according to AO is rigid internal fixation and early mobilization. You try to do a very good anatomical reduction in case of the interarticular fracture, do a rigid fixation and try to give early mobilization. This is principle of treatment. Try to understand the interarticular fracture in AO group principle of treatment, that rigid internal fixation anatomical. So you do not accept these steps if you do open. If at all needed, it is only 1 mm and earlier it is 2 mm. So you should not accept. So acceptance should be less. Even people used to go in arthroscopic assisted surgery interarticular fractures so that you can have a very good reduction, particularly knee joint. So here also one can go for the arthroscopic assisted reduction so that you do have a good anatomical reduction. Understood? Followed by you try to do a very good fixation so that you can give early mobilization. That is the most important thing. So early mobilization is only possible when you give a very good fixation. Otherwise, no. So that is the principle of treatment. But even then, you may not able to achieve it. What is the problem here of rigid fixation? Big problem in the rigid fixation is that the bones are very osteoporotic, particularly in elderly patient. And it is not possible to give a very good fixation there. So necessarily in these situations, early mobilization, compromise the stability is questionable. Understood my point? So though I think so this is applicable for young patients. So young patient 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, where bone quality is very good. The principle of treatment is always go for the internal fixation, rigid fixation, early mobilization. Accepted. That is not always possible in case of elderly patient. As I said, most of the patients were the female, 60 years, 70 years, they are coming with these combination fractures. In this situation, internal fixations is a bit difficult to do. Why? Because of the fact of the cross combination of the fragment. And osteoporosis of the bone. Osteoporosis is very difficult to treat. So that is why the rigid fixations, even locking plate, also whatever plate, it may fail. You may not have a very good fixation there. So that is why in this situation where there is a cross recombination elderly patient, instead of going for internal fixation, better to go for MEA, means replacement surgery, arthroplasty. So arthroplasty gives better result. So the debate in the last century, initially conservative operative, was settled by the end of this last century to go for internal fixation because of AO's principles are now accepted. By the beginning of this century, 21st century, there is inclination to go for more replacement surgery, particularly elderly committed fracture rather than going for internal fixation. Understood? So these are the things. But younger generations, you have to try to do for preservation. This part is clear. Now next point is how to go for fixation. This is clear. Any question, anybody, any doubt, you can ask up till now. Now, what is the principal treatment? We have discussed about the what is various fractures, classification, principle of treatment. Congenital treatment also. Earlier days, bag of bone concept was there is shattered bone. So instead of going for fixation, they used to pass a pin through the Oligoclonal process. Oligoclonal process give traction, but you have to confine the patient. That traction helps you to bring the fragments all in the bag of bone. So that, and then they give early mobilization, that gives better result. But confining the patient for a long time in the bed with a traction is very much not accepted. So that is we have the better option nowadays with this replacement surgery. So we have to adhere to that point. Okay, sir? Okay, this part is replacement surgery is becoming more popular nowadays. Okay, now what next? What next is the axial operation technique. So now two things are there. One is your how to expose it, that is very important. Yes. And number two is how to do the fixation too. We are talking about this. Exposure is also important. Patient is under anesthesia. Under anesthesia. Yes. Either regional block, and you will give a support there so that you can have this. So patient is lateral position with a support here, arm support. And this is the position how it is being here. Okay, this is accepted. Now we have this liberty of doing the many things here. One, that you can go various way of doing the operation. In the A group, 1-3A group, fracture is here. So many times exposure, if you do it, you do not cut the triceps also. So many times you can go by the side of these triceps. This is called paratricepital approach. Or even one can split it also to see and do the fixation. It will be more easy to do. Yes. So I am talking about the exposure technique depending upon the fracture configuration. And then you want to do it fracture. So easiest way one can tricep split, or you can go paratriceps. If you spare the triceps, it is well and good. So you can do a fixation there. Fixation there, that is exposure. I am talking. We will talk about the fixation also. Number one. Number two, if the fracture is happening to the one column, then one can restrict this column to this side. So you are not going to expose this part. So suppose the capsular fracture is there here. This side, capsular fracture is here. So we are not necessarily going to open the other side. So you have Coker's technique here. This is Coker's exposure technique, where the limited exposure can give a good approach to the fracture side and do a fixation there without touching this other part. Understood? So that is possible for B group. So B group, whether involvement in the medial column or lateral column, you have to decide. There I am having this fracture there in the lateral column. And more of the time it is a capsular fracture. So necessarily that is limiting to this area is going to help you. You do not need to do the exposure unnecessarily that side. So say Hitchcock setting is also there in the middle side. That is Hitchcock. Another is called Coker's. This is basically B group. Understood? So B group, as I told you, the other column is intact, one column is fracture. It may extend up to the articular joint. But exposure can be limited only one side, depending upon the involvement, whether it is medial column or lateral column. Lateral column mostly Coker's, and the middle column is Hitchcock. Understood? Okay. Now, what is more important to understand than the interarticular fracture here? So, in the interarticular fracture, we have the liberty to do many exposure. And for better understanding and understanding that, there should be approach which can preserve maximum structures if possible. So, what are the approaches which can help you? This thing I have told. The one thing is that if there is interarticular fracture, it is necessary that if you go for the exposure like this, it is not going to help you much exposing the interarticular component, this part. So there is a limitation in this case. So to overcome it, it is said, supposing the fracture is very good type of fracture, meaning only one fragment is there, this is purely T type of fracture. In this situation, probably paratricipital approach is going to help you. Why? Because this fragment is small. If you do the window like this, if you do a window like this and lift it up, this triceps. So triceps is intact. Only you by this side you are exposing it. So if you can see the joint also. If there is only one fragment, one can reduce it easily. With the help of joystick technique. And do the reduction, then we will be temporary fixation of the keyhole. Understood? Yes, understood. But this is not possible if there is a combination of the fracture. So, paratricipital. Now, for the basic principle, you try to understand that always try to do paratricipital exposure initially. Yes? Do not cut the osteotomy, do not cut the olecranon first. See whether you can do the reduction with this exposure or no. If you cannot do so, then you convert it to the osteotomy at the olecranon. So though there is a customary, there is a normal tendency of us to do a chevron osteotomy at the level of this two articular part of the olecranon process. Yes, that is also, we will talk how to do the osteotomy. But do not jump to osteotomy first. Particularly elderly patient also, do not go. Why? Because if you see that this is elderly patient, this fragment is grossly comminuted and you are unable to do the reduction and fixation, you may switch over to replacement. In replacement technique, this is not a good exposure. One point. That is one point. Another point you have to understand is that in a young patient also, if you are able to have a good reduction without osteotomy, then why you are doing osteotomy unnecessarily? Now, but you have always liberty to do osteotomy anytime. Supposing you have a fracture that they try to do the reduction from this technique, you are unable to do so. Understood? At this moment of time, you have every liberty to do a chevron osteotomy in this area, reflect it back, and you have a greater exposure. Yes or no? That means paratricipital exposure can easily be converted to osteotomy assisted exposure to a better exposure. Understood? So never try to do osteotomy first go. Always try to, this is very more scientific. Even there are other techniques also beside this, that earlier days we used the Campbell's technique, your tongue lift process sort of. So you triceps is there, then a tongue lift process is there, and you lift it up. One. Number two, again you can steep this muscle, triceps, from up to this area. Removing the triceps. So you are removing from this attachment here up to this level. Yes, continuation to the depression. So reflect it back. Again repose it. But whatever it might be, you are cutting this part, then you have to rejoin it and it takes time to hold. But if everything is intact and you can do the fixation by the paratricipital approach, it is always well and good. Understood? This part is exposure, this is the exposure that I have mentioned about the A group, I have mentioned about the B group, I have mentioned about the C group. Principle of exposure I have explained. Do you have any question about the exposure? So in the exposure, first thing after doing the first thing you have to always take care of the ulnar nerve. That I am not going into details, but I am just talking about the exposure. Then what next that you have to go? They always take care of the ulnar nerve and preserve it while doing the instrumentation. And finally, whether to repose the ulnar nerve anteriorly or keeping it in position, it depends upon you. If you find it that it is coming in on the way of hardware, so better to go for your area. Better to go for anterior transposition of the nerve. That relaxes the nerve. I understood my point? So anterior transposition, supposing if the nerve is here, you have difficulty in doing the closure. And the hardware is coming on the way. So impingement is a possibility, or it may be for friction. So better to anterior transposition. It is more easy to do and gives safety of the nerve. That is about the closure. Before that, what about the fixation there? So fixation implants and the techniques. Yes, sir. So people used to do what? For the if it is C, try to convert it to B, then fix it. Yes. So necessarily while doing a reduction here, your technique is that you try to always do for temporary fixation. Whatever exposure I have said, whatever exposure I have already mentioned, whatever convenient to you, you have to do it. After all, you need to go for fixation now. So initial part is that you always, supposing there is a fracture here, so you try to reduce it and do a temporary fixation through a K-wire. Temporary fixation K-wire. Then also again you convert it to B group, then you fix it with the temporary fixation. Initial part is that you go for the temporary fixation here, or this way you have to fix it. Place the K-wire in such a way that it is not going to intervene on the plate positioning. Before that you have to design, you have to think that whatever. This is temporary fixation. Now interfragmentary screw is important. This is usually, though people used to give compression screw, this is not ideal to give. It is ideal, see, internally you do not want to compress, narrow down, that will lead to another problem. You want to have a compression with the clamp. So reduction clamp or even big towel clip also help you to maintain it. Do K-wire fixation. Then you fully threaded screws are mostly used. Fully threaded screws mostly. Yes, though people used to go for the 4mm screw, but ideally this clamp which is holding is enough to give the compression, and your screw is going to maintain it. But the screw essentially should not go out more compression at the fracture side. Understood that point? That is why it is being used. And it is said, if you are able to pass the screw through the plate, it is well and good. Now what about the plate configuration? Yes. Now what are the plate choice? Next point. That I am doing a temporary fixation here. This is being fixed with the K-wire here. This way we are doing the drilling and do the screw. Next point here, I have to go for plate fixation. Earlier days and these days, even today also, see, configuration of the plate, there are three, four various configuration. One part is there, the plate in the medial side. This is your medial side, yes or no? Is always you can go for a low profile plate. Low profile plate, recon plate, you can go for, even people used to go for this sort of plate also. Nowadays, of course, pre-controlled locking plates are available. That also determines whether you are going to right or left. So in a situation where you do not have a pre-controlled plate or unable to afford it, you can have low profile plate like this, where you can bend it. So in the two things, see, I already told you the medial side you cannot give the plate like this. Yes or no? I told you. So medial side you cannot give the plate like this because this is thin. So you have to place the medial plate like this. Yeah. You have to contour it like this, and you will have to carve it like this so as to fix the plate in medial side. Understood that point? So medial side you have to carve it like this. And if possible, the interfragmentary screw should be passed through the plate. This gives more better construction. But individually also one can give. One can give individually also, or one can give also through the plate. And it is said it is better if you are able to give a fixation through the plate. Understood? Now this is medial column. Medial column always later from the ridge side. You have to dissect this part, take care of the ulnar nerve, contour the plate, fix it like this, like curve like this. Okay, contour it. P-contour plates are available. If not available, then low profile recon plate or this 130mm plate can be used. But this is not the choice for the lateral column. Lateral column, it is said is to have a better plate. Because lateral column you have the freedom, it is wider. So here nowadays, of course, P-contour plates are available. This locking plates are available. One can apply it according to side. Left side, right side. Yes, you can fix it, is nicely fitted. But if you do not have, then what next? One can go for the small DCP. Small DCP. Here you have to place the place usually like this. But it is also true, this is called orthogonal. This is called orthogonal configuration. What is orthogonal configuration? There is configurations name orthogonal. One is this, 190 degree. One is this, another is this. Another is this. Understood? Yes or no? This is one for combination. Another combination that you can give the plate in the medial column like this little side. The parallel configuration. Yes sir? One can give it. Another one is that if necessary, one can also give additional plate here in the posterior side. Additional plate. 3 plate. May be necessary. In a condition where you are unable to fix it, then you can have a small plate like this. So, medial side always like this. Lateral side you have the freedom of going for like this or like this. But here if you are contouring it, you have to go up to this level. Just away from the articular surface, say around 2 to 6 millimeter away. Otherwise 2 millimeter away. Otherwise you have to contour it like this to place it. But it should not come while doing the extension, it should not intervene. Otherwise you have to go down below. So that these plate screws are like going like this. Understood point? So you have the configurations of placing the freedom of parallel plate, parallel mechanism or orthogonal mechanism. Yes or no? And nowadays of course P contours are like this. You can place it. Now another point I should mention is that the length of the plate is also important. So if you have a length like this, it is good or bad? Tell me, it is good or bad? It is a bad configuration. Why? Because if these plates are ending at the same level, it becomes a stress riser here. So one plate should be short, another plate should be long. That is also important thing. So it will be a stress riser if you only both the plates are at the same level ending. So you should be, to avoid the stress riser, you also give a short plate or a longer plate, but not in the same plate. Understood point? This is clear. And only thing is that in thin person, if you are placing the plate, this hardware become more prominent and patient may have some problem, difficulties. Thin person, particularly muscle bulk is less. While the medial column and lateral column, you are giving parallel configuration. Otherwise, this is the configuration you are supposed to use. Understood? So you can work the plate, and then I found that there is a combination here which needs the additional support to give a support. You can give another plate here. You can give. Suppose here that there is a split above. Then I need to fix it like this. In this plane there is a split above. So you need to extend the plate above. So 3 plate configuration. So you have to determine according to need and select the plate. Select the plate accordingly. So you do have this, all these plates available here. If you do not have this plate, P-contour plate, so you can contour the plate according to the need. And this side is supposed to go for small DCP, this side your low profile plate. You have to, this side you have to on the ridge, this side on the posterior medial plate. Understood? So this is how you are supposed to give. See, if the fixation is well, everything is fine. Now closure technique, I told you that important thing is take care of the nerve. So if you find difficulty in placing the plate here, nerve here, and then if the nerve is stressed or it is coming and the friction, there is a possibility of friction with hardware, better to introduce the, but keep a record that I have done this so. So subsequently, while removing the implants also, if somebody is coming, then you supposed to know that nerve is being placed anteriorly. So this is important to understand. See, So this is how we are supposed to deal distal radius, distal humerus fracture. We have covered up everything. We have covered up the biomechanics, incidence, classification, the exposure, the technique of reduction, and finally fixation. Everything is being done only to give early mobilization so that interarticular fractures adhering to the basic principle of AO should be able to give early mobilization. Yes, so that is why. And replacement nowadays is coming in a big way, particularly for the elderly patient with osteoporosis. So do you have any more questions? You can ask. If no, we are closing the class today.